Most people in the AI space are obsessed with saving minutes. They want to automate a Slack message or auto-reply to an email or sync a lead to a spreadsheet. And look, that's fine. Automations do save minutes, but software changes how teams work. Now, there's a massive difference between a task and a system. If you're a founder or an SME owner, you've probably realized by now that you can't automate your way to a scalable company. In fact, most of the time, adding more automations just adds more complexity. You end up with what I call the task trap. You have a dozen different apps and you're using automations as the glue to hold them together. But the glue is brittle, it breaks, and more importantly, your team still has to jump between 5 different tabs just to get one job done. I know this because I've been there. I own and operate 3 e-commerce brands, and seeing as I'm an engineer, I was convinced there's a way to automate every little task that we need to run the business. This worked fine to an extent, but we hit a ceiling, and no matter what automation I built, we couldn't save any more time. I was in a trap. Then one day it clicked. Casper and my team was explaining how he was creating AI content for one of our brands. First, he had to use one automation to generate all the prompts that were in ChatGPT. Then he had to use another to call the image generation engine in bulk. The engine created the images and put them into Google Drive. Then he had to pass them back to me for approval and selection. Finally, he would have them posted through another flow. I realized that all of the time savings in the creation of the assets were being replaced by the human element of collaboration and approvals. We'd simply shifted the bottleneck to a communication problem, and switching between systems was hugely painful now. We couldn't automate our way out of this pain. We needed a different approach. Software. Empowered with the latest AI tools, I decided to have a build day. As a product owner myself, I was able to describe and visualize exactly what I wanted, and I built in the space of hours an end-to-end auto UGC generator content system that managed the entire process in a simple user interface. The results were amazing, so much faster to push out the content, and the experience just felt simpler. Not only that, now I've got a piece of software which I can potentially market to other companies. They may want the same thing, they have the same problems, but that's a story for another day. The main realization here is that businesses don't need another automation. They need an operating system. See, automations live in the background. They're invisible, which means they're hard to manage and even harder to fix. Software, on the other hand, provides 3 things that a Zap can't: a clean interface, a single source of truth, and a defined workflow. When you build a custom piece of software, even a simple internal portal, you're giving your team a home. They don't have to wonder where the data lives or which app to check. It's right there, always. Think about how we used to book a taxi before Uber. You would call a dispatch office, a human would answer and tell you the car is 10 minutes away. Then you'd walk outside, stand on the curb, look at your watch. 10 minutes would pass, no car. You had no idea where the driver was. You didn't know their name, and you had no way to verify if they were even coming. That feeling, that's anxiety. It's the feeling of being blind to a process that you've already paid for. Now, compare that to today. Uber didn't win because they had faster cars. They didn't even win because they were cheaper. Uber won because they gave you the map. They took a process that used to be invisible and they put a user interface on top of it. They realized that the magic wasn't the car arriving. The magic was seeing the car move toward you in real time. But here's the problem. Most founders today are running their internal operations like a 1990s taxi company. They tell me, Sean, I have automations. When a lead comes in, it triggers a Zap, which sends a notification to Slack, which then creates a folder in Google Drive. And then I ask them, can your team see the map? Or are they just standing on the curb, waiting for a Slack message to tell them what to do next? Most of the AI automations being sold today are just invisible dispatches. They move data in the background, but they don't solve the blindness problem. If your team is constantly jumping into Slack to ask, did the client upload their files? Or what's the status of the project? You don't have a system, you have an invisible mess. You're paying for the car to move, but you're still standing on the curb, looking at your watch and feeling the anxiety of not knowing. This is the biggest aha moment I've had with my clients. I show them the interface. It's actually more important than the automation. In the pre-Uber business model, the human glue is the dispatcher. The manager has to constantly check the Zaps and the spreadsheets just to make sure that things are actually moving. This is a massive managerial tax on your time. In the Uber model of operations, you replace the dispatcher with a custom portal. You build a single clean interface using the stack I talk about here: Lovable, Superbase, and NA10. That gives your team and your clients a map of the entire business process. When a client logs in and sees exactly exactly which stage their project is in without having to email you, that is the Uber experience. When your team logs in and sees exactly which tasks are ready for them without having to check 5 different Slack channels, that is the Uber experience. Steve Jobs famously said that if technology requires a manual, it's broken. I would take that a step further. If your business process requires an update meeting, it's broken. Uber proved that people will pay a premium for certainty. They will choose the provider who gives them the map over the provider who just tells them, wait on the curb. And the most incredible part of this shift is that the barrier to entry has completely vanished. 5 years ago, if you wanted custom internal software, you needed a 10-man engineering team, a 6-month roadmap, and a multi-million-pound budget. You had to deal with Jira boards, endless meetings, and developers who didn't really understand your business. Today, that's gone because of AI accelerators and the modern stack. A single systems architect can build in days what used to take months. We aren't just automating anymore, we are literally shipping. But you have to decide which side of the line you're on. Are you an automator who connects tools, or are you a builder who creates the systems that companies actually run on? If you want to learn the technical stack and the product owner mindset required to build this kind of high leverage software without the expensive dev teams, come join us at Stack Labs. It's a community of builders who are moving fast, building software, and getting rid of those simple zaps. We create enterprise grade systems. Or if you're a business owner who is tired of the task trap, if you want to stop juggling 10 different SaaS subscriptions and finally have a single custom-built operating system that lets your team scale 10 times faster, reach out to us at Foundana. Remember, automations help tasks. Software runs companies. It's time to start building the software your business actually needs.